Hi, this is Ralph again, here on beautiful Eagle Mountain in overlooking Table Rock Lake in right near Branson, Missouri. Hope you come to visit us one day. We got room up here to bring your family, pitch tents. We got hot water shower, and we got even a place for you to charge your cell phones, although we don't like you to use them. When you come to this place, it's a sanctuary, and enjoy the woods, see the deer, the turkey, the wild animals that are here. We're going to be bringing some bison in, and we're going to restore it to its natural beauty. We're going to turn this place into a garden. We need your help. So when you do come, there's no charge, but we pay for your water and your electricity, whatever you want to use. But we do ask you no radios, television, that kind of thing. We want to just listen to our Creator. It's a time for you and your family to bond together. Go swimming in the lake. We got some inner tubes for you to float around on there. We got a great river for you to float down that flows into the lake. And we're going to be putting the world's longest zip line out here. And it's going to cost us a little money. Some of you won't donate to it. We need a little money for it because we don't take money from the scriptures. And so that'll be just a special project for that. But we do have a couple of boats for you to use. And it's a fun place. Go fishing. We got some fishing rods for you. And we got a beautiful well up here that got plenty of water for you and your family to come and enjoy. And it's a family place. Well, we're in the fifth Yom, and the fourth one we just finished in the last video. You ought to get a copy of and look at every one of these teachings, because every Yom, that is a Yah's era, an adventure with Yah. See, that's what He wants you to have in your life. He wants this whole life to be an adventure with Him. You know, boring is not Yahuwah. He is not boring. Nothing about Him is boring. It is spectacular. It is amazing stuff. Everything He does is colorful, is grand, is magnificent. Even from the smallest things, which is my area of study, that is in genetics. And I often, as I would study the DNA and we'd look at things under microscopes and even electron microscopes, I just break out crying. I couldn't help it. It is so magnificent. The order, the precision of it. You know, there are millions of chemical transitions and changes that are taking place right now. Everything from your cell walls to the mitochondria that are in it, to the RNA that's in it, to the telomeres on the end of it. It is an amazing sequence. If one of them goes wrong, out of those millions of things, then you get cancer or you get some terrible disease. But it doesn't. It doesn't, you know, for most of the time. There are some places where our genetic code has been messed up, and we're going to, maybe right here on this mountain, we're going to have a eugenic research facility to put it back. Now, the U.S. government doesn't like it, and so actually I'm Native American. I'm Carolina Native American. And this whole land also has been put under their name. Because they were also Yadi of Yasserel. And so we do it as our own nation. And we don't, we are part of the United States of America when Yahuwah tells us to be. And we're also Carolina nation when we care to be, or when Yahuwah tells us to be. All right, the fourth Yom. And by the way, that's the way America should be anyway, because the First Amendment tells us that Congress shall make no law about the establishment of our faith. So our faith is above the laws of the United States of America. And that's a good thing when it comes to things like killing children and all that kind of stuff. All right, the fifth Yom. Now this is where it starts to really blow your mind. Now, this fifth Yom. All right. Eternal loving Yah, creator of all, again proclaimed the call of Yah, America. That's the actual Yadi word. And it's also the same in Hebrew. Let the waters be filled with swarms of living creatures. Let them expand to the land, and then let reptiles fly above the arts in the open expanse of the skies. Now, man didn't know that there were reptiles that flew in the skies until probably about 100 years ago, when we first started, maybe 130 or 40, when archaeologists started finding the skeletals of pterodactyls. I don't know. how it's going to be. And I don't know if we should bring those pterodactyls back. I mean, those boys were pretty big, and they had wingspans, of over 20 feet, and pretty fierce-looking beaks. And I don't know if we want them flying around over our head. Anyway, we'll figure all that down. But they're not going to be on the first agenda to recreate. Let me tell you. However, some of these others might be, because we know from the fossil record there's 240 million species of animals, and most of them, almost all of them, don't exist anymore. They're just in the fossil record. However, most of them, just like the movie Jurassic Park, we have their DNA still in amber. We have it in tar pits. In some cases, we have it from the frozen tundra. And in other cases, we're finding out how to actually reform it from any kind of cell that has been preserved by any kind of natural coating like tar pits. So things are very possible that we could have a restoration of even dinosaurs, that we really could have a dinosaur park again. Well, this says, then the eternal loving Yah, creator of all, created a great number of large beasts. Some of these creatures grazed on the land. Some cleaned up the dead. Many lived in the waters. Each reproduced after their kind, and the various creatures reproduced mightily after its kind. Eternal loving Yah, creator of all, saw to it was truly marvelous for making his family of Yah strong, fast, and smart. It was kind of a scary time when man was first created here. There were big animals, and you had to be fast and you had to be smart. Now, we're going to find out that the animal kingdom changed quite a bit. Hang on. Eternal loving Yah, creator of all, blessed them, saying, be fruitful, multiply, and fill the water and the seas. Let the reptiles multiply all over the earth. So there were reptiles everywhere. That's basically the dinosaurs. And you say, why did he create the dinosaurs? Well, he just told you here. All of this was to make his family of Yah strong, fast, and smart. There was, look, there was fruit and all these trees and everything. You can feed yourself real easy. I mean, the earth had a mist around it. We know this from even the oil deposits up there in Antarctica, down there in Antarctica, I should say, or up above the Arctic in Canada. We know that used to be a greenhouse here. So what changed it? Sin. That's what changed it. Changed a lot of things. And but the original earth, if you'll notice, there's one group of animals that's left out of here, and that is the carnivorous hunters. There are the scavengers, the ones that clean up the dead bodies, but there are no carnivores, that is, that eat off of meat, except us, and that comes later. Now, why did he set up an earth like that? Could it be that he's showing us, when he talks about in the future how the lion and the lamb will lay down together, that right here on Eagle Mountain, we're going to have lions and we're going to have lambs, and the lamb's going to come up, rub themselves up on the belly of the lions? Yes, I think you're going to see that. I think you're going to see a restoration of this earth, of the beauty of it. And we're going to set up gardens. And these gardens are going to be like a Jurassic Park, except their animals are not going to be fierce. They're going to be gentle. You're going to have Tyrannosaurus Rex and everything. Say, you want to ride? Well, I guess you can put about 20 saddles on one, and just, come on that way, just touch him on the side of the neck. Go out, you say, Rafa, you're crazy. Not crazy at all, beloved. Because two things. They said I was crazy when we started looking for the original scripture 40 years ago. They said you'll never find them. They told me I was crazy when I went to over to Afghanistan, and back when that war first started, and they said you'll come back in a body bag. Actually, my mother gave me money for a body bag so they could address it so they could send my body back. That's how much faith was there. Nobody encouraged me at either time. But the truth is that we did find the original scriptures. They're being translated for you now. That we did actually were the deciding factor in the war against Al-Qaeda, which now in name or in real essence no longer exists. ISIS has kind of taken its place, but Al-Qaeda is gone. It was the barbarians who won that war because we fought Yahuwah's way. You say, what's Yahuwah's way? Well, we don't murder. We don't kill innocent people. In fact, we don't kill people at all if we can help it. The only time we will is if we're trying to protect somebody else's life, like our kids, and they're trying to destroy their lives, but that seldom happens. And I have 1,400 sons, adopted sons that used to be Al-Qaeda. I shot them in the leg. They say this is my love mark from my daddy. Shot me in the leg because we want to see them converted. And they are great, great Americans. They're Americans because I'm an American. They're my adopted sons. That makes them Americans. And the State Department's having a lot of trouble with that because, well, it's not just 1,400. That's just the Al-Qaeda part of them. There's a lot more than that. Well, in this fifth Yahum, he talks about there is an abundance of reptiles across the earth, and it says both small and great. And there was a twilight era, but then came another moving of his Ahabi and his light, and this was the fifth Yahum. Now, you could almost say that this was the Yahum of large beasts. What did Yahuwah have in mind with those large beasts? Well, it tells us one thing is make us fast. Get out of the way of them if they don't know you're there. Now, I grew up over in East Africa. My father was a medical missionary, the greatest man I've ever met. He's never sent a medical doctor, brilliant surgeon, been decorated a number of times for things that he's done. But the most brilliant thing he's never been recognized for officially, but those who know him recognize it. There have been many days when my brothers and I had to carry my dad down because he literally would go to sleep on his feet. We'd have to finish up the surgeries because he'd been operating sometimes for 14, 18, 20, even at times as much as 36 hours in a row when there was some kind of crisis going on. And he never sent a patient a bill in his life. Spent 40 years on the mission field in various countries in Asia, in India, and in Africa, helping people who probably can't remember his name. He's delivered, I think, more babies than any doctor in the world. They would have the babies, midwives, those poor midwives would do all the work, and they'd just bring the baby, and he'd put his hand on them and bless them in the name of our Heavenly Father. But the most amazing thing about him is that he put God first. You know, people told him, you're crazy. You've got your medical training, you're top of your field, you're a great surgeon, a great medical doctor. Now it's time to make money. And he tried it for a couple of years. And then he said, no, I got to follow God. So we all took a vote. I don't know why he had a vote for us. We were going to vote for anything they wanted to vote on. And we were supposed to go to Indonesia. And we thought we were in Memphis, Tennessee at that time, and all we knew was that Memphis was somewhere, that Indonesia was somewhere across the Mississippi River. That's about all we knew. We had no idea. It's halfway around the world. And that began our upbringing. And then that led eventually to Africa. And Africa was really where I lost my heart. I look like a white man. I'm actually an Indian. American Indian, actually a red man, but half my heart belongs in Africa. I love Africa, love the people there, And we're actually doing some projects over there, and we're going to be doing a lot more projects. Africa is going to be a great place for Yasharel of the latter days. But I grew up hunting, and sometimes, a lot of times, just wandering out there amongst the herds of animals. And one of the things I loved to do was wander among herds of elephant. And when I was growing up, and this was a long time ago, there were herds of hundreds of elephants. They don't see that anymore. I miss it. In fact, one day we want to have enough land in Africa where we actually can restore the old Africa. But I can tell you, it was an amazing experience to wander amongst those big old behemoths and to see their interaction, how they took care of their young, and how they would even there would be younger elephants even lean up against an older elephant to help him walk. I've seen things like the elephant graveyards that don't exist anymore. But I've seen them actually just prop up an old elephant and go hundreds of miles to take him to an elephant graveyard, where then they would sit around respectfully and watch him die. And they would honor him. You know, no, it was an amazing, amazing life that I had. I ran with the Maasai. I'm actually a blood brother. I'm actually a sub-chief of the Maasai. And we used to go hunting with buffalo. Sometimes we wouldn't even take our spears. We'd just take our shields, and we'd go for the sport of it. We'd surround the buffalo, run him down. And that's back in the days when I could run 12 hours like they do. Until tired out the buffalo, he'd finally stop, and he was tired of, being chased all across the country. And he'd turn around, and we'd circle him with our shields. And then sooner or later, he'd get a little ticked off, and he'd charge one of us, and we called it riding the horns. That was our roller coaster. that was our Six Flags kind of event. It was to ride the horns of the buffalo, and it's quite a thrill to be about 15 feet up in the air from a buffalo that's knocked you that high up. And I've had a broken arm from it myself, and but I've carried many of my Maasai brothers back with broken legs and a few with even serious injuries. But that was the kind of world I grew up in. I still long to see that old Africa back. When you'd wake up in the morning and the mist would be over the African Perini, and you'd see 20 different types of animals grazing around your tent. In some places, there would be the majestic kudus with their great spiraling horns. They don't even exist in herds anymore, just as individuals. And we would see beautiful herds of these magnificent animals. We would see vast, I'm talking about thousands of wildebeest, Thompson gazelles, zebras, gnus, as they would call the wildebeest. Beautiful, amazing Africa. That's all part of the vision of this fifth Ya'om. And one day we want to see it back here in America, what it used to be. Well, this is Rafa. I hope this blesses you, the fifth Ya'om, and the visions that Yahuwah has put within our hearts for these future days. Be blessed. Have a great one.